So hello again. I'm very excited to be here with Ms. Deborah Toulay, one of our thrivers for the evening. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking.
Yes, ma'am. So listen, I heard that you were diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, and I do not know what that is, and I figure maybe our viewers don't. So will you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, breast cancer is different for different people. It just depends on what you've been diagnosed with. So if you're not positive, they have HR positive, HR negative, and then they have one that's considered you don't meet any of those criteria, so you're actually negative. So, and being triple negative meant that you didn't hit positives on any of those HR, or some of the others. I can't even remember all of them. It's been so long ago.
Okay,
it was like 12 years ago.
Yes,
so I don't remember all of them, but I do know that it didn't have any receptors that were connected to like estrogen, which a lot of women have that type of cancer.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you're standing here tonight, so you are definitely a thriver. And I heard going through this process, God gave you a new mantra. Tell everybody a little bit about that mantra you have.
When going through breast cancer, everybody's story is different, and that's one thing about it. But I will say this, it is a different story when it's you. And so when the Lord began to minister to me, he ministered to me from the scripture, Romans 8:28, that all things work together for good for those who love the Lord and to those who are called according to his purposes. And that scripture, what God gave me was whatever shows up in your life, that you have a right to give it a job description. So I gave cancer a job description.
My goodness.
And although the enemy, was coming to plague in my mind, because everybody doesn't get to stand and have a testimony after being diagnosed with cancer.
Yes, ma'am.
So what God shared with me is this: although life is but a vapor, we can be here one day and gone the next. So don't worry about when you're going to die, but focus on living and living your life on purpose.
Life on purpose. Now, I'm from the church. I'm a church boy. So
Come on, church boy.
Ready to shout up in here. So we're here tonight, and I heard that you also are an author, a best-selling author. So tell everyone about your books and what that journey was like, even in writing that process.
Okay. Well, as I was going through the process, I started a blog that's called The Inspirational Gem. And I blogged every day. I'd write a inspirational scripture. And one thing about inspiration, you don't just have to have a medical diagnosis to need some inspiration sometimes. So they were applicable for whatever you were going through in life, whatever challenge you may face. So we started writing that blog, and from that blog we took some of the information from the blog and about my story, my life experience after being diagnosed, and we wrote the book called Grace for the Journey. So that was the first book I wrote. And the next two books I had an opportunity to be a part of was actually and what, how do you say that word?
Anthology.
And thank you, anthology with some other ladies. So we wrote one that's Fear to Freedom.
Okay.
And then the other one is the Queen Experience.
Okay. Awesome. Well, tell everybody where they can find these books in case they're interested.
Online, on Amazon, you can find those books online.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Deborah. Thank you for being here with me. Ms. Deborah Toulay, one of our thrivers for the evening.